In today's video, we will continue the practice of making very simple pen sketch and watercolors. See, the drawing will be very simple and the coloring will be very primitive, very simple. Without further delay, let us begin. I am using a cartridge paper and a waterproof gel pen, and the pen that I am using today is Unipin Fine Line 0.7. I will give the details in the description below. And I'm making a very simple tree, just few branches, a main trunk and a couple of branches moving here and there. That is the idea, and we'll decide further things as we go on, right? Nothing is pre-planned. Everything is based on just ideas coming on the fly. Okay, so open yourself, be open and let ideas come to your mind, and try to listen to your ideas and try to just draw it. Whether it comes good or not good, don't worry about that. Just listen to yourself and draw. That is the approach. Right, so just the tree trunk, little bit of dynamic kind of a tree. It is not very straight trunk. I have made some movements to make it little interesting. That's it. Okay. Right. I think we will add an auto rickshaw here. If you are not aware of auto rickshaw, you can Google it, and it is an Indian small public transport. Okay. So a three-wheeled vehicle, just a small cubical shape, and then we'll develop it. So auto rickshaw has an interesting structure. So you can, if you're not aware of it, please browse and you will understand it. Yeah, I think this is the overall idea of the auto rickshaw, and then we have to decide what should be added next. And I am planning for maybe a figure then. Okay, I'm just adding a figure. Maybe he is coming forward, he is walking briskly, and maybe holding a bag. It is, just one figure will do. And we will do some background washes and then coloring of this. So I'm using a very pale orangish gray, a little bit of orange and a little bit of Payne's gray, very pale wash for the tree trunk. Okay, and maybe I will add a little bit of color variation by adding slightly darker version of the same color. And this again is not very well planned. Just look at the drawing and take a decision by yourself. You don't have to follow precisely as I am doing. You take the approach, okay, freeing up yourself and taking decision just on the fly. Take the decision. If the decision goes wrong, no problem. There is nothing called a wrong decision or right decision in this practice. Okay, just it is important that you take a decision and follow it. And if it doesn't come out good, if you're not happy, try again. So that is how we learn. That is how we develop more and more ideas coming up. And you have to always respect and listen to those ideas and practice it. Right. This tree trunk could have been done in many different ways. The color could have been better. The form could have been better. I know that. But this was my decision at this point. And I'm happy that I followed my decision. Okay. Now some ground. I'm using pale wash of burnt sienna. And this is not a full-fledged watercolor. It is kind of a watercolor study, I would say. And I'm using a little bit of a violet color now. So initially we used the burnt sienna. Now I am using little bit of burnt sienna and violet mixed so that we get a darker tone and we have some tone variation on the ground. And I'm softening some of these edges because I don't want to cover the the paper with colors. I just want to soften out the edges and let this paper weight be seen all around. Okay. Now this auto rickshaw has usually its top and the back portions in warm yellow kind of a color, orangish yellow sort of a color. So let us give that color first, and yeah, then rest of the color we will decide later. Okay, now this much is done. Maybe we'll go for the figures. Paints gray for the dark, which is the hairs, and then I'm using cobalt green for this shirt. Usually I follow this kind of colors for figures, some light colors for the shirt and dark color for the pants. It is just my choice. I don't want to complicate it. Okay. Now let us give some background. This is mostly cobalt blue and tiny bit of Payne's gray. Cobalt blue and Payne's gray mixed. You can see the consistency, and I'm just creating a background. That's it. You don't ask me what precisely this is. It could be some background foliages. It could be uh, some some buildings. I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'm just giving a background so that the auto rickshaw and the figure and the tree has some context. Okay, there is some context for these three main elements. The main elements are these three: the auto rickshaw, the figure, and the tree. I'm using Camel Artist watercolors for this, except for the cobalt green. For the cobalt green, I have used a brand called Aquatone Watercolors, which again is an Indian brand. Both these watercolors are Indian brand, so I'm not sure whether you will get it at your place or not. But you can use any color that suits you. Don't doesn't have to be the same shade that I am using. You can use your shades, the shades that is already available with you. Some splashing of water to create some texture. And let me splash some pale wash of Payne's gray on this. It is just to create some kind of an interest, some texture. Okay, because we are not defining anything seriously here, so I'm just splattering some kind of darker colors, Payne's gray and cobalt blue mix, and maybe I will convert this into some kind of a foliage. I just thought of doing the splattering, and once those droplets are seen on the paper, I got the idea that let me convert that into some kind of suggestion for some foliages on the tree. Okay, so just some suggestion of some loose foliages. Again, not very precise. I just wanted to suggest. Okay, please don't worry about precision when you're doing these practices. Okay, loose practices in particular. If you want precise works, of course you can go for precise works. You can draw them precisely. You can plan the tones precisely, and you can apply colors for the shapes and the tones that you have in mind. But here my idea is just to suggest something. Just play with it. Okay, just play with it. Listen to your ideas that are coming from within. Just play with it, and yeah, some of these droplets I'm lifting out because I thought it is too much of droplets, so I'm just lifting off with a tissue paper before it dries. Okay. Now there are some darker areas for the autos. We are going for darker areas. Some of the shadows on the windscreen. Okay. So it is very tiny, so it is. I'm finding it little difficult to precisely paint it. Right. So I'm using a soft round brush for these kind of works. Okay. Initially, I have used a soft, medium-sized mop brush, and for the details, for the smaller works, like this. I'm using a round brush, small size round brush with a good point. Okay. I'm using auto rickshaw with kind of a darker color. So you will find auto rickshaws with other colors also, like green color at the bottom. Okay, so you can use whichever color scheme that you want, but most common are green and blacks. Blacks are a little bit older these days. Mostly you will find green colored uh, auto rickshaws. That is yellow and green. Okay, I think this is fine, and yeah, some more darks on the front. It should look little interesting. So I wanted to create some interest. So little. Oh, I need to soften this area a little bit. Okay. See, if you want, you can take a reference for these kind of elements, and or you can just look at my work and you can understand the shape and the tones. And if you are using your own elements, of course, you know what to do. I just wanted to smudge this area, so I am using little bit of a gray mixed with white to diffuse some of the area, and yeah, I think this looks good. Okay, that area I am diffusing because I don't want to define details for all these things. So let things be little diffused, and some shadows for the trees, and let the shadow of the tree and the shadow of the auto be connected. Okay. Again, it is not a precise work. Okay, we are just playing with our ideas and we are just following our inner calls. I mean, just listen to what your mind says and follow it. That is what I am doing it now. This is Payne's Gray and suggesting some leg movements. Probably he is walking little bit aggressive and he is coming forward towards us. Okay. Okay. This again is very suggestive kind of a figure, not with too much of details. Right. Now picking orange color directly from the tube for the exposed body parts like the face, the arms, etc. And then wherever I think the orange color can work, you can use it. Now I suggested the bag also. Everything is suggestive, very impressionistic. Okay. Some shadow tone on the shirt. It should not look very flat. I think this is fair enough. And we have got good suggestion for the auto rickshaw now. We have good suggestion for the figure. And maybe I will make it slightly more orangish. It was looking very kind of flat color. So I'm making it slightly orangish to make it a little bit more interesting. And this is purely white color picked up from the tube for some of the highlights, so that the top of the head, the top of the shoulder, etc. is highlighted, and the top of the auto also can be highlighted to some extent. This, you may argue that these figures and auto are under the shadow, they may not get much of highlights. You're right, but I just wanted to, I mean, still give the highlights so that they grab more attention than the viewer. We don't have too many things to grab attention, so we just have these two elements, the auto rickshaw and figure, to grab attention. So I am giving some highlights. I think we are pretty much done now, and I hope this video was informative and you could learn something from this. If you have found this informative or useful, please do subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification. You may also share this video to your artist groups, artist friends, so that they also can take benefit out of this. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please do write them in the comment box below. And we will soon see you with another interesting watercolor tutorial. And happy painting until then. Bye bye.